Now we discussed about the functions of endocrine system of human being. First we discuss about the functions of hormones. Functions of hormones. Hormones from endocrine glands directly enter into blood. Blood carries hormone to target cells or organs. Endocrine glands are ductless glands except pancreas. Hormones regulate physiological process. What is physiological process of body? The physiological process means the cellular activities. They produce small quantities. Hormones usually produce small quantities. But biologically very active. Excess and deficiency of secretion of hormones cause serious body disorders. Hormones are water-soluble proteins. Hormones may be water-soluble proteins. Amines or lipid-soluble steroids. Lipid-soluble steroids. Hormones not stored in our body. Hormones never stored in our body. There are two types of endocrine glands. First, exclusively endocrine glands, and second, partially endocrine glands. First, exclusively endocrine glands. Second, partially endocrine glands. Partially endocrine glands. What is exclusively endocrine glands? This type of glands only produce hormones. They only produce hormones. Examples: pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid, thymus and adrenal glands are examples of exclusively endocrine glands. Then, partially endocrine glands. These types of glands produce hormones and other extra products. Hormones and some extra products. Examples of partially endocrine glands are pancreas, gastric and duodenal epithelium, gonads and placenta. Pancreas, gastric and duodenal epithelium, gonads and placenta. The first endocrine glands, that is pituitary glands. Pituitary glands. They are also known as master glands. It is situated in front of the thalamus. The pituitary gland is situated in front of the hypothalamus of midbrain, connected by pituitary stalk. The anterior lobe of pituitary produces growth hormones and somatotropic hormones. The pituitary glands produce growth hormones growth hormones, that is known as GH. It is also known as stomatotropic hormone. Stomatotropic hormones. Second one, gonadotropic hormones. Gonadotropic hormones. Pituitary glands situated in front of thalamus of midbrain connected to pituitary stalk. The anterior lobe of pituitary. The anterior lobe. The anterior lobe of pituitary produce two types of hormones. First, the growth hormone and gonadotropic hormone. What are the functions of growth hormone? That is GH. It promotes growth of whole body. The growth hormone promotes growth of whole body. Then the under secretion of growth hormone leads to dwarfism. The under secretion of GH the under secretion of growth hormone leads to dwarfism. The under secretion of GH leads to dwarfism in children. The over secretion of growth hormone. Over secretion of growth hormone leads to gigantism in children. Gigantism in children and acromegaly in adult. Acromegaly in adult. In this case, the bones enlarged. Bones of adult become enlarged. Next, tropic or gonadotropic hormone. Second one, tropic or gonadotropic hormone. Stimulates other endocrine glands. These tropic or gonadotropic hormones stimulates other endocrine glands. Examples, thyroid stimulating hormone. Examples, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Second, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone stimulates adrenal cortex. This ACTH stimulates adrenal cortex, the cortex part of adrenal gland, that is adrenal gland situated on top of kidney. Third example, follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, stimulates egg formation in females and sperm formation in male. FSH stimulates egg formation in females and sperm formation in male. Next, luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone, LH. In females, luteinizing hormone stimulates ovulation and formation of corpus luteum. LH in females stimulates ovulation and formation of corpus luteum. Corpus luteum produces hormone, the female hormone progesterone. What is corpus luteum? The egg follicles left over after releasing ovum. Corpus luteum means the follicle left after release of ovum at the one phase of ovulation cycle. In females, LH stimulate ovulation and formation of corpus luteum. But in case of males, LH stimulate testis, that is the reproductive part of male. The LH stimulates testis to produce hormone testosterone. Next example, prolactin. Prolactin that stimulates milk production in females. These are depends upon the anterior pituitary lobe of pituitary gland. Then the posterior lobe of pituitary. Posterior lobe of pituitary. Antidiuretic hormone. The posterior lobe of pituitary produce antidiuretic hormone. That means antidiuretic hormones means ADH. It is also known as vasopressin. Vasopressin increases absorption of water from kidney tubules. Kidney tubules means nephrons, and keep osmoregulation. The antidiuretic hormone ADH, that is also known as vasopressin, increases absorption of water from kidney tubules, that means nephron, and keep osmoregulation. The deficiency of ADH causes diabetes insipidus. What is nephron? The basic functional unit of kidney is known as nephron. What is osmoregulation? The maintenance of fluid homeostasis is known as osmoregulation. The maintenance of fluid balance in the body. The maintenance of fluid balance of the body, that is also known as homeostasis. That is osmoregulation. What is diabetes insipidus? The excess water that flow out from the body through urine is known as diabetes insipidus. The deficiency of ADH causes diabetes insipidus. Second, oxytocin. Oxytocin is an hormone that is produced by the posterior lobe of pituitary. The oxytocin stimulates contraction of uterus during childbirth. Now we discussed about the functions of hormone, then pituitary gland with two lobes, anterior lobe and pituitary and posterior lobe. The anterior lobe produce two types of hormones and their functions. We discussed about these parts. Now the next endocrine gland is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland. Thyroid gland secretes two hormones. Thyroid glands secrete two hormones, that is thyroxine and calcitonin. Thyroxine and calcitonin. Thyroxine regulates basal metabolism. Thyroxine regulates basal metabolism. What is metabolism? The total chemical activities that took place in cell is known as metabolism. Thyroxine regulates basal metabolism, controls growth and development, controls body growth and development, ossification of bones. Ossification means deposition of calcium in bones. Ossification of bones maintains body temperature and mental development in children. What are the functions of thyroxine? It includes the regulates basal metabolism, controls growth and development, ossification of bones, maintains body temperature and mental development in children. The under-secretion of thyroxine causes three disorders. The under-secretion of thyroxine, that is known as hypothyroidism. The under-secretion is also known as hypothyroidism. The under-secretion of thyroxine causes three disorders. First disorder, simple goiter. Simple goiter. That means enlargement of thyroid gland that is situated in front part of neck. It is by iodine deficiency. The cause of simple goiter by iodine deficiency. Iodine need for thyroxine production. Second disorder, cretinism. Cretinism. What is cretinism? Poor body growth, that is dwarfism, and mental retardation. Cretinism means poor body growth, that is dwarfism, and mental retardation, mainly in children. Third disorder or deformity, myxedema. Myxedema. Swelling of face and hands. Swelling of face and hands. General sluggishness. That means weakness. Then the over secretion of thyroxine. Over secretion of thyroxine, that is also known as hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism. Produce X-ophthalmic goiter. The over secretion of thyroxine cause X-ophthalmic goiter. X-ophthalmic goiter that cause marked increase in metabolic rate. The over secretion of thyroxine cause Ex-ophthalmic goiter cause marked increases in metabolic rate. Increasing metabolic rate. Rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath. That means suffocation. Eyes protrude out. Eyes protrude out and swelling in neck. These are related to the hormone thyroxine. The next hormone that produced by thyroid gland is calcitonin. The function of calcitonin. It regulates calcium and phosphate in blood. The function of calcitonin is it regulates calcium and phosphate in blood. Calcitonin helps to deposit calcium in bones from blood. Next, endocrine gland. Next, that means the third endocrine gland. First we discussed about pituitary, second thyroid gland, the third one parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland. These are two pairs of small glands. Parathyroid glands are two pairs of small glands embedded in back of thyroid gland. Parathyroid glands are two pairs of small glands embedded in back of thyroid glands. Parathyroid gland secrete hormone parathermone. This hormone helps to release calcium from bone to blood. That is opposite to the function of calcitonin that produced in thyroid gland. The functions of calcitonin and the parathyroid gland are opposite. The parathyroid glands are two pairs of small glands embedded in back of thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland secrete hormone parathermone. This hormone helps to release calcium from bone to blood. Next, gland. Endocrine gland, that is thymus gland. Thymus gland. That located at the base of neck. Thymus gland that located at the base of neck. It produces some hormones involved in maturation of T lymphocytes. Helps for maturation of T lymphocyte. There are two types of cells that are related to immunity. They are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. In this case, that is the function of thymus gland include the maturation of T lymphocytes. The gland begins to reduce after puberty. That is one particular peculiarity of thymus gland. It is developed stage at childhood and the function of thymus gland reduced after puberty. Next gland, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. A pair of glands. Adrenal glands are pairs of glands on top of each kidney. Adrenal glands are pair of glands on top of each kidney. This gland consists of two parts. This adrenal glands have two parts. First, central medulla. And peripheral cortex. Peripheral cortex. There are two parts. First, central medulla, and second, peripheral cortex. First, we learn about adrenal medulla. This adrenal medullary part secretes adrenaline. The functions of adrenaline include increases heartbeat accompanied by an increase in blood pressure. The function of adrenaline include increases heartbeat accompanied by an increase in blood pressure. Second function, increases blood supply to muscles at the time of emergency. Third function, release more glucose to blood from liver. Then discuss about adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex. This adrenal cortex secretes categories or group of hormones. Adrenal cortex secretes group of hormones, that is glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. This adrenal cortex secretes groups of hormones. They are glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. First, discuss about glucocorticoids. Example, cortisol. The hormone cortisol include the part of glucocorticoids. In response to stress, glucose released from liver by deamination of amino acid. The function of cortisol is response to stress, glucose released from liver. The excess glucose deposited in liver at time of emergency. This cortisol helps for glucose released from liver by deamination of amino acid. By deamination of amino acids. The cortisol responds to stress. Glucose released from liver by deamination of amino acid. What is deamination of amino acids? The process of removing an amino group from an amino acid molecule is known as deamination of amino acid. The process of removing an amino group from an amino acid molecule is known as deamination of amino acids. This hormone, that is cortisol, adapts body to stress such as extreme heat, cold, burns, infections. Then what are the functions of cortisol? It responds to stress, glucose release from liver by deamination of amino acid. Cortisol helps for adapt body to stress such as extreme heat, cold, burns, infection, etc. Next we discussed about the cortical hormones. The cortical hormones. These cortical hormones behave like sex hormones. Behave like sex hormones. That is, overgrowth of adrenal cortex. Overgrowth of adrenal cortex in young children cause premature sexual maturity. Overgrowth of adrenal cortex in young children cause premature sexual maturity. Next, overgrowth of adrenal cortex in mature females result in development of male characters such as beard and deep voice. Next, overgrowth of adrenal cortex in male result in development of feminine characters such as enlargement of breasts. We discuss about cortical hormones. That is, examples: overgrowth of adrenal cortex in young children cause premature sexual maturity. Next function, overgrowth of adrenal cortex in mature females result in development of male characters such as beard and deep voice. Overgrowth of adrenal cortex in male result in development of feminine characters such as enlargement of breasts. These are some deformities that related to adrenal cortex that produce hormones. Next we discuss about mineralocorticoids. We already discussed about the first part, then discuss about mineralocorticoids. Example: aldosterone. Now we discussed about mineralocorticoids. Example of mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. This aldosterone hormone concerned with water retention and reabsorption of sodium and potassium ions through nephrons, that is kidney tubules. The aldosterone hormone concerned with water retention, that means maintenance, and reabsorption of sodium and potassium ions through nephrons. Nephrons means kidney tubules. The sixth endocrine gland, that is pancreas. The endocrine part of pancreas is a special group of cells named islets of Langerhans. The endocrine part of pancreas. The pancreas is with two functions. There are two parts. First part that depend with the formation or secretion of hormones, and next part the production of digestive enzyme. Now we discussed about the endocrine part of pancreas. The endocrine part of pancreas is special group of cells named islets of Langerhans. These cells, group of cells, include alpha cells. These islets of Langerhans include alpha cells, beta cells and gamma cells. The alpha cells produce hormone glucagon. The beta cells produce hormone insulin. The gamma cells produce hormone somatostatin. The gamma cells produce hormone somatostatin. Then we discuss about the functions of these hormones. Glucagon stimulates breakdown of glycogen to glucose in liver. Glucagon stimulates breakdown of glycogen, that is the stored glucose material, glycogen, in liver to glucose. Glucagon stimulates breakdown of glycogen to glucose in liver, leading rise in blood sugar level. Function of insulin. Perform two functions, that is promotes utilization of glucose by body cells and stimulate the conversion of extra glucose from blood to glycogen and stored in liver. The insulin perform two functions, that is promote utilization of glucose by body cells and second stimulates the conversion of extra glucose from blood to glycogen and stored in liver. The undersecretion of insulin cause diabetes mellitus. The undersecretion of insulin cause diabetes mellitus, that is also known as hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia. A diabetic person has higher glucose in blood. A diabetic person has higher glucose in blood. Excrete extra glucose loaded with the urine. Feels thirsty, loss of weight, even loss of eyesight. A diabetic person has, that is a hyperglycemic person has higher glucose in blood, excrete extra glucose loaded with urine, feels thirsty, loss of weight, even loss of eyesight. Oversecretion of insulin, that is also known as hypoglycemia. We discussed about hyperglycemia. Now we discussed about hypoglycemia, that is oversecretion of insulin, leads to low blood sugar. Brain may enter into coma stage. The hyperglycemic stage form low blood sugar in brain may enter into coma stage because the brain cells didn't get excess or sufficient amount of glucose. So the patients may enter into coma stage. Then we discuss about the hormone somatostatin. This somatostatin also known as growth hormone. Growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Somatostatin inhibits secretion of insulin as well as glucagon. Somatostatin inhibits secretion of insulin as well as glucagon. The hormones insulin and glucagon. The function of somatostatin that keep balance. It inhibits secretion of two hormones insulin and glucagon. Next we discuss about the seventh endocrine gland, gonads. Gonads. The gonads means testis and ovary. Testis in males and ovary in females. Testis in males possess two kinds of cells. The testis of males possess two kinds of cells. Sperm producing germinal cells and hormone producing interstitial cells. Testis in males possess two kinds of cells. First, sperm producing germinal cells. And second, interstitial cells, that is hormone producing interstitial cells. The testis of males possess two kinds of cells. First, sperm producing germinal cells and second, hormone producing interstitial cells. Testosterone stimulates development of male characters. Testosterone that is a hormone. Testis produce hormone that is known as androgens. This part produce androgens. Example, testosterone. Example of androgen, testosterones. The testis produce androgens. Androgens means group of hormones. One of the androgen is testosterone. Testosterone stimulates development of male characters during puberty. Testis produce androgens. Example of androgen, that is testosterone. Testosterone stimulates development of male characters during puberty. That is facial hair, voice cracks and deepens. The ovaries in females. Ovaries in females produce hormones estrogen and progesterone. The ovaries of females produce hormones estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen secreted from follicles of ovary. Hormone estrogen secreted from follicles of ovary and stimulates development of fat deposition in hip and breast development. The estrogen secreted from follicles of ovary and stimulates development of fat deposition in hip area and breast development. Progesterone secreted by corpus luteum. Hormone progesterone secreted by corpus luteum. We already discussed about what is corpus luteum. The follicle left after release of ovum, that is known as corpus luteum. Follicle left after release of ovum is known as corpus luteum. bring change in uterus for retention and growth of fetus during pregnancy. This progesterone helps for changes in uterus for retention and growth of fetus during pregnancy. Next, hormone secreting part, that is placenta. Placenta. What is placenta? A temporary organ or structure that develops in the uterus during pregnancy and connects the baby to the mother. Placenta is a temporary organ or structure that develops in the uterus during pregnancy and connects the baby to the mother. That is placenta. Placenta of pregnant woman produce hormone chorionic gonadotropin. The placenta of pregnant woman produce human chorionic gonadotropin. That is HCG, which maintains activity of corpus luteum in secreting progesterone continuously. The placenta of pregnant woman produce human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. This HCG maintains activity of corpus luteum in secreting progesterone continuously. The ninth part of endocrine gland, intestine and stomach. The ninth endocrine part is stomach and intestine. The gastrin, first part, the hormone gastrin, secreted by mucous membrane of pyloric end of stomach, stimulate gastric glands to secrete gastric juice. The gastrin secreted by mucous membrane of pyloric end of stomach stimulate gastric glands to secrete gastric juice. Stimulate gastric glands to secrete gastric juice. The ninth endocrine part are stomach and intestine. The first hormone, gastrin, secreted by mucous membrane of pyloric end of stomach. This gastrin hormone stimulates gastric glands of stomach to secrete gastric juice. The second one, secretin, the second hormone, secretin, secrete by inner lining of duodenum. Secrete by inner lining of duodenum. That stimulates, the secretin stimulates production of pancreatic juice. Production of pancreatic juice. The hormone secretin secreted by inner lining of duodenum stimulates the production of pancreatic juice. The third hormone, cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin. The third hormone, cholecystokinin, stimulates release of bile. Stimulates release of bile from gallbladder. The ninth endocrine parts are stomach and intestine. The first hormone, gastrin, secreted by mucous membrane of pyloric endostomach, stimulates gastric glands to secrete gastric juice. The second hormone, secreted by inner lining of duodenum, stimulates the production of pancreatic juice. The third hormone, cholecystokinin, stimulates the release of bile from gallbladder.